Coming up on this episode of Nintendo Cartridge Society, special guest Heather Ann Campbell stops by to talk about Breath of the Wild, video game payola, and Waterworld on the Virtual Boy. It's dangerous to go alone, so the Nintendo Cartridge Society goes with you. Welcome to Nintendo Cartridge Society. My name is Patrick Ellers, joined as always by my co-host Mark Mitchell.
Hey, Patrick, how's it going?
Good, Mark. How are you?
I'm doing great.
Yeah, we're doing good here, right? We're easing into it.
Had a great Earth Day.
Yeah, good. Do you have any plans for Arbor Day?
No Arbor Day plans.
No Arbor Day plans.
Yeah.
Why are those holidays so close to each other?
I don't know. Seems like a waste.
It's like
I
double
guess
dipping.
it's spring.
That's a great point. Aren't Flag Day and the 4th of July also very near to each other?
Yeah, that seems like a huge waste.
Yeah, that's and you can move Flag Day
Easily.
No one's gonna miss it. I went to school in the town in Wisconsin, Appleton, Wisconsin, that has the largest Flag Day parade in the world.
in the world?
Well, it only has to compete with other American cities,
Right.
and no one else throws a Flag Day parade.
That's actually a really good plan because, again, everybody throws a 4th of July parade.
Everyone does. Appleton's like, no way, we're gonna get it on this Flag Day.
Get on the ground floor of Flag Day.
Weather report.
Super hot over the weekend.
Yeah, kind of. I was running the air conditioner.
It was awful.
Yeah.
Very pleasant today.
Tips for beating the heat, Mark. We're gonna need them.
Oh, boy. Get an air conditioner.
Get an air conditioner. Great first tip. Second tip, eat more ice cream. These are both good tips.
Mm-hmm. Put your feet in buckets of ice.
Right. I guess tip part 1, obtain buckets of ice. Tip part 2, put your feet in there.
It's a multifaceted, it's a complex tip. I admit that.
We don't make it easy on you. Speaking of not making it easy on us, what video games have we been playing?
Well, we've been playing Donkey Kong Country 2 Diddy's Conquest
That's right.
for our NCS Classic Edition play-along series.
And you've can have already heard.
You can already have.
I'm not assuming that everyone has listened to it, but we have the episode that we recorded before we started playing, and there's a little sneak peek at the end of our various frustrations as we get further into the game. So check that out and look forward to more of us grumbling about Diddy's Conquest in the future.
Yeah, part 2 will be released not this week, but next week. So
That's
a week
correct.
from Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
I've also been playing Breath of the Wild, of course.
Right, no surprises there. Tell me about your most recent Breath of the Wild adventures.
So I finally did one of the Great Beasts.
Yes, which Divine Beast did you conquer?
Oh, Divine Beast. The flying one?
I've not been to that one yet.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So I did that one, and it just kind of like happened because the quest, like, you have to do a quest to get to it, and then you're just kind of there.
Right.
And so it's like, well, it'd be pointless for me to leave. I might as well just do it.
Although, didn't you do that with the Zora one? Didn't you approach Zora's domain and then you were like, nah?
Yeah, but I wasn't like literally in the Divine Beast.
Sure, okay.
Yeah. So you've done a few of the Divine Beasts, right?
Yes, I've done the Gerudo one and the Zora one.
Yeah, so I haven't done either of those. So yeah, the bird is the only one I've done. I can't remember exactly what its name is, but I liked it. I think in my head I was expecting it to be more like a traditional temple.
Yeah, and they're really not, right?
No, they're like elaborate shrines.
Yes, exactly.
And which I'm fine with, but it, I guess just from like other people's impressions, I was expecting it to be more like a traditional temple.
Yeah, and I think if they were more like traditional temples, they would be even more frustrating. Like I kind of like them, but for the most part, I just like the game. I like running around the world. And when you spend any time in a Divine Beast, you're like, I could be running around the world, and this feels so unlike that. So if they were longer and you had to be in them for hours and hours and hours, I don't think I would like them as much as because it doesn't take long once you're inside one
No,
to
not at all. I
figure
also
it out.
found the boss to be very easy.
Yeah,
But again, I don't know if that's because I was super leveled up or like my weapons
yeah.
were pretty uh they're pretty good at this point. Um
How many hearts do you have right now?
I only have 14, I think, maybe 15 since you get one for completing the divine beast.
Yeah, I only have 13.
Yeah, I'm putting everything else into stamina.
Mm-hmm.
Really loving that because the other thing I did this week was fill out my map. So I've like
Yes.
activated all of the towers.
Mm-hmm.
And man, this world is so huge.
Yeah.
Like it's so big. But my new favorite place is the snowy peaks right by the Gerudo Desert.
Okay.
And the mountains there are all like super snowy.
Yeah.
And there's like a giant sword that has, or like what looks like the remains of like a statue, just like a giant sword that's like sticking in the snow. And there's treasure chests that are buried in the snow, like all over these peaks. And so you
Yeah.
just use magnesis to like pop them out and
Yeah.
see what it has. Like it's just like, what is this area? There doesn't seem to really be anything in it other than just all this cool stuff for me to like go find and explore.
Yeah. I also spent some time playing around in the mountains by Larinu village or it's by Hateno village. The mountains up there. I spent a lot of time up there and discovered one of the dragons that's infested with like Ganon blight. Have you encountered this? It's at like the peak of a mountain and there's like a spring of wisdom or something up there and
Oh wait, in the snowy mountains
Yeah,
over
yeah.
by. Oh yeah.
yeah. Yeah, that was a new experience for me, and there are like these drafts that push you up, and you have to like shoot out the like Ganon eyes all over it. That was super fun. I discovered the labyrinth at the very northeast corner of the map.
Oh man, isn't that so cool?
Man, labyrinth was so cool. And then at the end of it, like so there's one guardian like in the middle of this thing, and then like the flying guardians are like, oh, I gotta stay down. And so you're doing all that, you get your way through the labyrinth, which is fun. And get the cool stuff for beating it, and then like this hole opens up and you can go all the way down to under the labyrinth, and there's a treasure chest in the middle of this enormous room, and everywhere else in the room it's decimated guardians, or so you think, and they all, not all, but maybe half of them start either getting up or just like turning around, and so you're swarmed by guardians. And I had this moment because to that point I wasn't really engaging guardians. I was just like, I'm running away, they're too much trouble, they're more trouble than they're worth. But after that fight where I'm just like getting from either side, I was like, no, you know what, I can fight guardians, which is how I'm playing the game now. I have turned it into I hunt monsters. I find the Lionels, I find the Hinoxes, I find the Stone Taluses, I find the Guardians, and I just kill them all. I'm having so much fun.
Lionel battles are so much fun.
Yeah, they're great. And they're all a little bit different. They all have different weapons. Some of them have different powers. I fought one yesterday that like turns into fire and teleports around. It's just, man, I love this game.
It's so cool. I was reading something about the development of the game where when people were play testing it, they were keeping track of where everybody went.
Yeah.
And then they could put it into software and kind of like aggregate that information so they could see basically like the hot spots and the spots where people weren't going as often. And so that helped them like know where to put things and like secrets because they knew there were areas that people were not going to.
That's so cool.
So it just makes you want to like, and the reason I'd been not hunting divine beasts is because I wanted to like save that for the end game.
Yeah, I don't even know that that's gonna.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But we were talking about earlier, like weeks ago, when the DLC for this game was announced.
Oh yeah.
And that, like, would we even want that? Would we even need that? but I'm super into the idea of more to explore in
Yeah.
this world.
Yeah. I don't know what a new feature for the in-game map means,
I still don't know.
but I'm into it, man. If there's just like an island chain that appears like off the coast, I'm there.
Also, is that the only labyrinth that you've done or found?
That's the only one that I've done. I know there's one in the desert, but I haven't done it yet.
Me having a lot of stamina totally changes those for
Oh,
me.
yeah, for
So
sure.
It's just like, oh, I'll just scale this wall.
Yeah. Oh, I'll just climb this.
Yeah.
It'll be fine. Do you have the climbing shirt?
Yeah, I have the entire climbing set.
Oh, I only have a shirt. I like that it doesn't have sleeves.
Yeah,
Like Link's like
for climbing.
he's kind of a bro. He's like, I'm gonna climb up this. Let's move off of Breath of the Wild, otherwise.
We'll talk about it forever.
Right.
I also downloaded and have been playing Bye Bye Box Boy.
Bye bye, Box Boy. How are you enjoying Box Boy?
It's fun. It's worth the $5.
Mhm.
It's the presentation is really cute.
Yeah,
like
it's so
QB's
cute.
cute. There's like a girl QB and like a tall skinny QB that is like walking around on the spaceship. Yeah, it's really fun. Have you played?
I've played the
one?
first one. Yeah.
Okay, so I don't know how it compares to the first one. I imagine it's the same mechanics. It's just more puzzles.
Yeah, I mean, maybe there are different like twists on the mechanics. But basically, you're just a little box, and you can kind of self-replicate.
Yeah, and it tells you like you can self-replicate like in this level a maximum of three
Three little boxes.
and you have a total of 25 boxes to try on this level. But and then you try to like collect crowns and move across pits and things like that. But it's super forgiving. Like there's zero penalty for just hitting L and R and going to the next checkpoint.
Oh, really? LNR just bumps you up to the next.
Oh, sorry. It takes you back to the last checkpoint.
Uh-huh.
So it's like, oh, like I don't know how to solve this. Or oops, I used all my boxes and I'm out of boxes. Just like hit L and R and it just like resets and there's like no penalty for doing so.
Yeah, and then the game is less about like getting it right the first time and more just like figure it out. You can figure it out.
And I like all the unlockables you can get. Like
Yeah.
there's little comics. I really like the little outfits and like eyebrows you can get for QB.
That's
So
so
you can
good.
like customize your QB. It's super fun. I feel like they should put all three in a package together and sell it for
like on Switch.
yeah, like a even just like a retail like physical release for like $20. Throw that QB amiibo in there because that is one amiibo I would get.
Yeah, I would pick that up in a heartbeat. Great. You want to move on into the news?
Sure.
Let's do it.
Big rumor from Eurogamer this week
Big rumor.
that Nintendo is preparing an SNES Classic Edition for later this year.
Great. Kind of everyone's been calling it, right? I feel like that's something that from the second the NES Classic was announced, people were like, all right, but what do you put on your SNES Classic?
Yeah, and I personally, I'm super excited.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully they make more of them.
No, I want it to be as cutthroat. I wanted to get in line at 6 o'clock in the morning.
And I imagine it will probably even be worse this time because people are anticipating you'll have to get there at like 4.
Yeah, I mean, unless, and this is an insane thing for me to say, unless Nintendo has learned their lesson. But they certainly have not. They're not going to produce more of these things on the scale that they would have needed to actually supply people with the NES Classic.
Yeah, I think my hope is that there will be more, but I think you're right that there will probably still be demand unmet.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, that's still true of Switch right now.
So you brought this up on Twitter. Do you include a cartridge on top?
This is a great question because the NES doesn't, it looks like it has a little flap that you could open, but there's no cartridge in there. But the NES, Super NES looks incomplete without a cartridge sticking out the top. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I hadn't even considered it until you brought it up. Then I was like, oh yeah, that would be kind of cool if they had like maybe a cartridge with like custom art on it.
Yeah, that said like SNES Classic or something. Or if it were like an LCD screen that showed.
The other thing I was wondering is, do they make 3 different versions? Do they
Sure.
make one for North America? Do they make one for PAL regions? And do they make one for Japan? Because the Super Famicom, the
Mhm.
PAL region, and the Super Nintendo all looked different.
I mean, the NES is obviously different. That there's the NES and the Famicom.
For that, they only had to
They
make
only
2.
did two, right? And would they all three have different libraries? So many
So
possibilities.
many possibilities. But yeah, I mean, for me, obviously, my first video game system was the NES, and I really liked it. But the Super Nintendo is the one that I have the most,
Hmm.
like, I feel strongest about.
Yeah.
And so I'm very excited for this.
I mean, I feel like it's where the most like stone cold classic, like retro gaming is. That's just with the trifecta of Super Mario World, Link to the Past, and Super Metroid. It's like, okay, whatever else you put on that thing, it's already a perfect library.
I would love if they had, um, like support from Square Enix.
Oh man, if they can get the like big five, I'm gonna say five, maybe six, if we want to count Super Mario RPG as one of them. Square Enix games on there, it'll be like one of the best machines ever made, right?
Yeah.
With Final Fantasy IV, Final Fantasy VI, Chrono Trigger, Secret of Mana, and I'm counting Secret of Evermore because I like that game.
If you had to choose only one to go on the SNES Classic Edition, which one do you choose?
Chrono Trigger, or
I'm torn.
any of them.
I know that's the problem. My gut tells me Final Fantasy VI,
Yeah,
even though I love Chrono Trigger and Secret of Mana. I don't know.
it's
It'll be
it's
really
an
interesting to
impossible
see.
question.
Well, if this rumor comes true and it's from Eurogamer, there's no reason to think that it's not going to happen. I will be very curious to see the list of 30 games that make the cut.
What if it's no Square Enix games and just like Mega Man X1, Mega Man X2, Mega Man X3?
That's possible. I really feel like there was Final Fantasy on
Mm-hmm.
the-
Both versions.
both versions.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm hopeful that there will be. I mean, there could be a Dragon Quest game on there theoretically. Probably in the Japanese version,
Yeah.
not on. But I'm hopeful there'll at least be one of those heavy hitters on there. But
God, and Earthbound will probably be on there too.
yeah, I mean that's the thing. It seems like Nintendo could easily fill a third of the catalog
Yeah.
with just like their own first party classics.
Yeah.
Star Fox will probably be on there.
Mm-hmm. Yoshi's Island will probably be on there.
Oh yeah, probably.
F-Zero, Mario Kart. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a lot.
I mean the Super Nintendo is a golden era.
Yeah, it is for sure.
Nintendo has partnered with Target to promote Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Have you seen pictures of this?
I have.
So-
I've had people send me pictures.
So over 650 Target stores are decorated in celebration of the game's launch, including there's like a starting line at the store's entrances, flags, it like lights up and plays music when you walk through. Those concrete things that they put in front of the sliding glass
Sure,
doors
yeah, to
so that
keep
way
you from
people can't like ram
drive
cars
into it,
into
yeah.
it. Those are being covered with a like Mario and Luigi
Oh,
design.
that's so cool.
The shopping carts themselves they have like cart decals on it, so it transforms them into super Target carts. That's what they call them.
I feel like kids are gonna be throwing blue shells at each other.
I think it's there's no word on how long this promotion lasts, but I think it's really fun. And although I guess if you work there, having the music and lights go off all the time, it's probably really annoying.
Yeah.
But it feels like Nintendo's going all out on marketing for the Switch in a way that we haven't seen Nintendo market
Maybe ever, right?
ever. Probably. I mean, maybe the NES,
Yeah, I mean,
maybe Super Nintendo,
who
but like,
can't even remember at this point. But I mean, that's echoes of their E3 booth at E3 is what the Breath of the Wild booth at E3 this last year. That it was just a Zelda playground, Um, it's interesting that they are like it's something that they're doing, but they're not necessarily talking about as like presenting the experience outside of the game, as though like being able to bring the Switch into the real world, they're bringing like the game out in the real world as well.
Oh, I think that's interesting. I hadn't really considered that aspect of it. I have been more fixated on the fact that they're doing this sort of thing at all.
Yeah,
Like how heavily they are marketing the Switch and how smart
yeah.
they seem to be in marketing in a way that I don't feel like we've seen them from them for a long time. So I don't know if like Nintendo of America has more free reign, if they changed ad agencies.
Oh, interesting.
Like I don't exactly know how much they do in house, but it feels more aggressive and also more um hip, for lack
Yeah,
of a better
for sure.
term. Super Bomberman R is getting Castlevania, Silent Hill, and Gradius characters in a future update.
All right.
There's no date set yet, but players can look forward to Simon Belmont from Castlevania, Pyramid Head from Silent Hill,
Classic character from Silent Hill.
And Vic Viper from Gradius. And I'm not clear on whether they're skins for like the playable characters or if they'll feature in the game in some other way.
You think maybe they're canonical appearances of
Of a Pyramid Head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the Pyramid Head canon is too complicated as it is. I don't need it crossing over with Bomberman.
Also, version 1.3 of the game was released last week that significantly improved the game's frame rate if that was something that was holding you back from playing it, and it also included a brand new stage. So Konami's support for it has been pretty good. I guess you could argue that maybe it was, with all the frame rate problems, it was released too early, but what would a launch be without releasing things too early?
Right. And with, there were only a handful of other games that you could have picked up in the store anyway, so like good on Konami for getting something out the door at that time.
Also, I think Silent Hill and Castlevania, probably all three of these series are dead right now. So
Oh yeah. Yeah.
here's a fun way to get your Pyramid Head fix.
I mean, give me a call when we can play as Solid Snake and Raiden.
Yeah, give me a call.
Yeah, no, yeah, on the telephone. Call a landline.
Because that's the only way I'm gonna care.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
Good old-fashioned phone call.
Level 5 previously confirmed Layton's Mystery Journey, Catriel and the Millionaire's Conspiracy. So originally this was announced earlier this year as Lady Layton,
Mm-hmm.
but it has a much more convoluted title now.
I like the simplicity of Lady Layton.
Me too.
That's what I'm going to call it.
So they announced it last year, and now they've announced that, or earlier this year, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But now they've announced that it is going to be coming on the 3DS to the West, but not until the fall. So here's how it breaks down for all you Lady Layton heads. Is
Lady Layton lovers.
LLL. Worldwide release on iOS and Android is set for July 20th. On the same day, it'll be released on 3DS in Japan. Then,
in the fall
sometime, we'll get it on 3DS in the West. But again, if you're an LLL, you've already downloaded it.
Oh yeah, you've been through it a couple times.
Yeah, but I guess if you're a true LLL head,
right,
you will.
No, you can't. If you're a real LLL head, that means that you are a big fan of LLLs.
That's what I meant.
So wait, you're talking about someone who is a fan of fans of Lady Layton.
Yeah.
Okay.
So let's say your girlfriend was an LLL.
Right.
You would be an LLL head because you would be a fan.
I get it. We're not carrying that like L one step. I'm not an LLLL.
No.
Okay. All right. I just want to make sure I'm using the right language, Mark.
Well, obviously, you as an LLL head,
right,
would buy the 3DS version when it comes to the West to give to your completionist LLL girlfriend.
There we go. Win some points.
Yeah, exactly. See, it's not about just keeping cool or
right.
Nintendo or the weather. It's also about
how to manipulate people with things they like.
Exactly. And isn't that what love is? Version 2.1 of Super Mario Run was released yesterday. It increases. Hey,
Hey,
it increases the maximum number of toads that can live in your kingdom to 99,999.
literally exactly what I was asking for.
Yeah.
Man, I had to download that again.
Why is it not an infinite amount? Like, why do they
Mm.
cap it? There must be some programming reason that I don't understand.
Look, we don't understand. And then there's new stuff in there to
Oh,
collect.
yeah, some like statues, like a Bullet Bill and 8-Bit Bowser, and some other changes and balances and stuff like that.
Crap. Am I gonna? I'm not gonna play that again, am I?
No, I don't know. I mean, you did swear an oath on this podcast that
A
if
blood
they
oath,
changed it,
right? You go back and listen to that clip. You can hear there's a little wince in my voice because I'm cutting the palm of my hand and bleeding on the mixing board here.
yeah, and if you play it backwards, you can
Mhm.
hear him making a pact with Satan.
Mhm.
So,
And intermittently saying Mark is dead, which he is, by the way.
oh yeah, I'm not wearing shoes in any of our album covers. So this Thursday, Nintendo will release an earnings report for fiscal year 2016.
Great.
We'll probably hear an official update on Switch sales. And it seems like in the past, we've usually gotten some like bonus announcement, like a game that hadn't previously been mentioned or a release date for something. But I don't know how true that'll be this time since we just had a direct
Just had a
little bit
direct,
ago.
and E3's coming up, and we're in a launch year of a system. It seems like there are plenty of times for these announcements to happen. Doesn't need to happen at the earnings meeting.
And then finally, just like a general FYI, GameStop has confirmed that they are investigating a security breach of their online store.
Oh yes.
So the scope hasn't been disclosed. They're still investigating it. But if you purchased from their online store over the past few months, just kind of a heads up. Check your bank statements, see if anything funny has been going on.
I actually, a couple years ago when the PlayStation Network was hacked, I guess it was all of Sony, right? It wasn't just, it was bigger than the PlayStation Network. I canceled my credit card right away and got a new credit card. And I don't think anything bad ever really happened from that. But,
That was crazy.
yeah.
Like, they were offline for at least a month,
Yeah,
maybe
it
more
was
than
a
that, right?
long time, yeah. And then they were like, here's 4 crummy games that you would never buy. That's your reward.
And like
for
a month
yeah, a
of
month free. It was the exact amount of time that they were down. Which,
oops. Yeah.
not great. I noticed we don't have this here, but Best Buys were getting NES Classics in stock today, Monday. So that information is no good to you now. And Switches in stock on Friday. So it's not clear if all Best Buys are participating in this or how many Switches they're getting. But if you are gunning for a Switch and you got time on Friday morning, maybe stop by Best Buy.
And pick up a copy of Super Mario Deluxe 8.
Yeah,
Mario Kart,
Kart
8 Deluxe.
That's right. Also possibly Puyo Puyo Tetris. Mark, let's talk about the new releases.
Puyo Puyo Tetris.
Out tomorrow.
Or today.
Yeah, depending.
Well,
Depending on if you're us or if you're you.
yeah. Or yesterday or 2 weeks ago, depending on when you're listening to this.
Right. Everyone's listening to it the day it comes out.
Right. So today.
Right.
Today, Puyo Puyo Tetris was released. Kamiko, I think that's how you say it. It comes out on Thursday. It's from the developer of Faerun or whatever for the 3DS. It's kind of like an action RPG game.
Is this is a Switch game?
Yes,
Okay.
this is a Switch game. It came out a couple weeks ago in Japan. Everybody's loving it. People are downloading it onto their Switches because you could play it in English even on the Japanese store release. But officially coming out, I think it's only $5.
That's not bad.
The Neo Geo game for the week is Over the Top or Over Top.
And not over the top.
Not over the top.
It's not an arm wrestling game.
Not an arm wrestling game.
Got it.
Just Over Top, which what does that mean? I'll never know. That comes out on Thursday. Constructor, which is a 90s, like an HD remake of a 90s PC game that's kind of like SimCity, but you're trying
Okay.
to muscle out other contractors. That comes out on Friday for the Switch. And then, of course, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe.
Woo!
I'm super excited for that.
Me too.
Also, Shovel Knight Spectre of Torment, the free update for Wii U owners and 3DS players. The Wii U update went live last Friday, the 21st, and the update goes live today.
It's a great game. I've already played it on the Switch. Actually put more hours into it the first weekend the Switch came out than anything else, Zelda inclusive. It's a great game, as good as Shovel Knight, like OG Shovel Knight, if not better. So if you already bought Shovel Knight on one of those two other platforms, you already have access to this for free. You don't have to spend any more money.
Yeah, who's the developer? It's like Yacht Club
yeah.
Games.
They're really supporting this game.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, and there's another the King Knight scenario or quest or whatever is going to be coming out at some point. So yeah, they just keep on giving. And if you were put off at all by the Plague Knight DLC, understand it's not a very good version of Shovel Knight, but Spectre of Torment is absolutely worth checking out. It's so good.
Also, Rayman 3 and Rayman Advance hit the Wii U eShop last week, so surprise.
Surprise, we're getting some Rayman. Great. Let's move out of the news. Now it's time for a regular segment on our show. It's time for 433. In 1952, American composer John Cage wrote a piece called 433, wherein a group of performers didn't play their instruments for 4 minutes and 33 seconds. For the purposes of this show, our instruments are talking about Nintendo. So for the duration of one performance of 433, Mark and I will talk about something not at all Nintendo related, thus fulfilling the contract of 433. Mark, I want to. We got an email this week about 433. So we're just gonna kind of cram reader mail into this section here. Buckle up, because this one goes for a while and is knowingly crazy. I love this email. Email comes from Chandler Lee. Hi, Chandler. He says, I know this is a bit late, but January 20th was my birthday, and I've been having problems with Inauguration Day ever since, so I haven't been able to celebrate. Between that and the fact that I've waited at 2 different GameStops for morning releases for the Switch, and still haven't gotten one. Blows brains out, he says. Anyway, on to Split spoilers. And then he sends us a link to Split spoilers. We seem split. We don't need Split spoilers anymore. Thank you.
But thank you, though, for sending them.
Thank you for sending Split spoilers. Now, P.S., and this is where we start, okay? Now that I finally emailed you, the floodgates have opened, so you're going to have to bring back debug because, Jesus, there are always so many problems. For instance, and then he gives a timestamp in an episode. He says, you mean to tell me that's my 433? Heresy. I checked the ding for the end of the soundbite, and it hits 3050 on both iTunes and another place. Basically, what he's getting at here is that not every installation in 433 is 4 minutes and 33 seconds long.
What?
Yeah.
We've been lying to people?
No. So here's the thing about 433. 433 is just the colloquial name of the piece. As John Cage wrote it, the name of the piece is however long it takes to perform it. And it takes as long to perform as the performer takes. So you could do a performance of 433 that actually lasts for 20 minutes, and then the name of the piece would be 20 minutes. But 433 is the most, like that's the shorthand by which everyone refers to it, because it technically has no title unless it has been performed. So that's one thing. He says, you have yet to perform for 433. You can pick whichever arbitrary finish line you want, but you have to stick with one. And can't go around calling your performance where you take a break and don't do your regular job. He's saying all I'm saying is I can't appreciate it when it's not timestamped correctly. So, not timestamped, I guess. Are there timestamps on, if there are timestamps on any of the things we do?
Well, here's a pitch.
I'm unaware of them.
Here's a pitch.
Mm-hmm.
What if we retitle our segment to be however long the particular performance of 433 is? I'm just hashing this out. Like, yeah. I'm not committing us to this.
Sure. If you were to go to a performance and 433 was on the program, it would be listed in the program as 433.
Okay.
I mean, regardless of how long the piece, because like you have to program it somehow. You have to print programs before the performance happens.
Yes.
So I guess what I'm saying is, yeah, we have yet to perform 433 in honestly because we're taking a real loose definition of what the piece is supposed to be. I think we're supposed to be standing here in silence for 4 minutes and 33 seconds. But if us not talking about Nintendo is us performing 433, then we've absolutely performed 433.
I love this.
You love this?
I love this email.
Yeah, it's a great email. It goes on for a great long time. Chandler, thank you for sending us this email. Talks about he's never played Ocarina of Time. He's only 21. Look, Chandler, I love this. Send us a more concise email, and then we'll read it. We'll read the whole thing on the show. And I think this recording of 433 is a fake 433. We're not going to get any applause here, so we'll never know when to stop this.
We'll never know.
All right, it just ran out there. So that was 433. That was your genuine 433. Was like 4 seconds of silence from me and Mark. All right, so let's. We've got an interview, special feature. With Heather Ann Campbell, who is hilarious. She's an actor and improviser. I'll introduce her in a second.
You need to play the little music first,
I need
don't
to play.
you?
Oh, yes. So let's get out of. Oh man, we're not doing it. I didn't do it. All right, let's move out of the segment. All right, enough nonsense. Let's get into our interview with Heather Ann Campbell. She's an awesome gamer and actress and comedian and writer. We had a super fun time. We try not to swear on the show.
Mm-hmm.
And we also try in the interview, but we have such a good time. And so we end up swearing a little bit. It's nothing crazy. But if you're like listening with kids or whatever, maybe turn it off now. But everyone else, stay and listen because Heather is super fun and super funny, and we had a really good time. Enjoy. Here we are. And our guest today.
Hi.
We are joined by Heather Ann Campbell, a writer, actress, improviser from Whose Line Is It Anyway?
Mm-hmm.
Saturday Night Live.
Mm-hmm.
Party Over Here.
Yep. Good. You don't even have notes out in front of you. That's really nice.
Why would I need notes?
For those, I don't know.
For Heather Ann Campbell.
Party Over Here is that's kind of a deep cut at this point. They took down all the stuff that we made off the internet. They scrubbed the internet.
They can never take down our memories,
That's
however.
true. They can't. I mean, they will eventually.
Well, yes, they'll find a way. They'll drill into our skulls, and they'll all be gone.
Yeah.
All our memories.
They'll Ghost in the Shell 1993 us.
Not Ghost in the Shell
No,
2017 us.
not
It's
2017
93, right?
us.
Not 92? Or was it 91?
Oof, 90 early.
Early, yeah.
Early 90 us.
I feel like we're not good at years. Yesterday, we couldn't remember when the Nintendo 64 came out.
Yeah.
1996, December.
No, it was like summery, right?
No.
Oh,
It was November.
December.
I think. I want to say it was like November 11th. But again, I'm bad at.
November 12th, 1996.
Okay.
Or December 12th.
I think you're probably.
I have a watch with it on it because
With the release date on it?
Because I worked at a video game store. It was my very first job, and I was too young to work at the store, but I didn't tell them. And they gave me the watch that the manager was supposed to get because I worked the launch day.
Was it an EB or like a GameStop, like anything that's around now?
It was an EBX.
Whoa.
And I was in high school. And yeah, I put on. I have that watch, so I have the date, which is why wherever it's on my watch.
I had for a very long time a Sega Dreamcast shirt with the release date of 9/9/99 printed on it.
There you go.
So I will never forget the day that the Sega Dreamcast came out.
There you go. Also, I was a freshman. I was a freshman in high school in 1996. So nobody thinks I'm 150 years old.
1996, I was what? 14?
I was 12.
In sixth grade. I was in sixth grade. I shouldn't have been working at EBX. In 1996, I was in
so
sixth
cool,
grade.
though.
Wait, that's crazy.
What's
no,
that?
what, just that you were in sixth grade and had a part-time job.
2.5 years old.
You were just crawling.
Yeah.
You've got the job.
Yeah.
But you've done a lot of stuff in games, right? Like you were editor for Geek Monthly
Yes,
and Play Magazine. Did I get
yes.
those right?
Yeah.
Well, I kind of want to just talk about like all things Nintendo.
Okay.
And like any of your experiences with that brand, that big dumb brand that we love.
Right.
When we were emailing, you had mentioned that you didn't have a great experience with the Wii U.
No, so I first off, I don't like the controller. I know everybody it's supposed to be the thing. I really hated it. It felt like I was playing with a cheese plate in my hands. Like your whole it's too big. It's just too big, and I didn't ever pony up for the Pro controller or whatever it was called then cuz I wanted the second screen experience. So
That's what the whole thing was sold on, was this idea that like the dual screen play.
Yeah. So I mean, like I played, what is it, the 3D Mario World or Land or whatever it was called, and I played Nintendo Land, which was the fun thing it came with. I bought Xenoblade and didn't play that. I played the intro and I was like, ugh, this sucks.
I could do this for another 198 hours if I wanted to.
Like it was really like the intro is really. It's a bummer.
I never owned a Wii U. And I'm like a huge Nintendo fan.
Oh, wow.
But the Wii U came out and it just it really didn't interest me. Like I thought it looked bad.
I will buy all Nintendo systems just for the OS because I love the sounds and the choices made by all of their like default OS stuff.
Yeah, we did an episode actually a couple months back just about Nintendo system music.
Yeah.
And there's so much good system music.
It's great.
Do you have an NES Classic?
No.
Right, because they're impossible to come by.
Well, also I have. Oh, you've got one.
I do have one. Yeah.
Tiny. I could. I mean, like. I guess I could just black market buy one, but I have all of the. I still have my original NES.
Yeah.
Like I don't know why it. Why?
Just because it's cool and small.
It's tiny. It's so itty
what
bitty.
is the why?
I mean, there's something very handy about like having a thing that you can just take to someone else's house and like slap, it's in, and you can be playing Dr. Mario or Super Mario Brothers 3 or Metroid or whatever.
Like as of 10 years ago, I had an NES, but you know the games were starting to wear out, and you'd have to like crack them open and try to like clean them out and jam it in there, and
right. To say nothing of your batteries in them too.
I think I might get no kidding. I might get an analog NT.
Yeah.
Those look so cool.
Because it's the same thing, but I can use my games. And quite frankly, the games that come on that thing, I'm like, those aren't my games. Those aren't the one. Like, I want Little Nemo in Slumberland.
Oh, man.
Like,
Little Nemo.
That's my Mario, man.
I used to, oh man, that's a game that I rented like over and over and over again, but never actually purchased. Like for me, that's one of those games right up there with DuckTales and like the Chippendales game. There's so many good like licensed games that just appeared on the Nintendo and then like nowhere else.
Yeah.
Do you have a Switch?
I do. I have it with me. Do you know that this female purse is a perfect Switch case?
That is the perfect size.
It is the Freitag, I think it's called the airliner bag. This is my purse.
That's
and then
amazing.
It fits the Switch. And I was like, well, now I never have to do anything.
I recently purchased a case that's sitting there next to the TV.
Yep.
It's fine. I don't love it.
Yeah.
Like it's a weird little, but yours looks, it's a purse, so it looks great.
It's perfect. It's perfect. It fits the Switch perfectly. And my wallet can go in there.
Did you do the whole pre-order? Did you do Amazon, Best Buy? I did
Best Buy
one?
because I couldn't sign in on Amazon or whatever. And I was like, maybe I'll do Best Buy for a change. And got it day of with 1-2 Switch and Zelda.
Yeah, that's exactly what I did. And Mark did not go for 1-2 Switch.
Again, it does not look appealing to me. It did not look appealing to me.
Okay.
And then when we were, Patrick owns it, and so I was playing it with Patrick, and the eye contact makes me uncomfortable. That they like force you into eye contact. And
so you're a real Nintendo fan.
That's correct.
But one of the bummers, I love the Switch. I want every game ever to be on the Switch now.
Yeah.
So I can.
Yes. It completely destroys your ability to play. I haven't played PS4 since I got the Switch.
Same here.
Oh, man, I picked up Persona 5 because, like, everyone's talking about Persona 5. And it's not necessarily my type of game just as it is, but, like, if I could take it with me or put it in my hands and play it on the Switch, I would definitely be playing it.
Is Persona 5 on the Vita?
No, it's on PlayStation 4 and 3
But
for some reason.
No, there is a Persona on the Vita.
Yeah,
Persona
4?
4 Golden, I think.
Ah, that's
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, if that game would I just want everything to go to the Switch now.
I have a office and game room that's sort of dedicated to that space. But like I never played video games like out on the porch or in my living room or at the dining room table or in bed or and suddenly that's the thing. Is
You're free.
I
Yeah.
only play Switch on the big screen, like, I don't know, once a week.
Yeah, it's super rare for me too. And before it came out, I was convinced I wasn't going to take it anywhere.
Yeah.
I just assumed that I would always just basically keep it docked. Because that's like with my Nintendo 3DS, I never really like took it places. But now, like, yeah, I play the Switch in bed. I play it. It's rarely docked except to charge.
I play it at bars a lot.
Oh, it's so good at bars.
It's so good at a bar.
Pulling out snipper clips. Have you played snipper clips?
No, I haven't played Snipper Clips.
Oh, Snipper Clips is great.
It's so good and so cute and so frustrating.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah,
I'll get it.
It's great. We can play a little bit before you take off.
All right. I mean, yeah. Okay. Great.
Or whenever. So you picked up 1-2 Switch. Not 1-2 Switch is not for Mark.
It's just not my
just
thing.
feel nothing. It's sort of a demo. It's like,
Yeah.
hey, when
yeah.
your friends are like, wait, what is this? You can't show them Zelda because it's just like, oh, so it's.
Because you'll have a great time.
But I actually feel like Snipper Clips for me fills that void
Oh,
really
really?
well
Okay.
because my boyfriend doesn't care for video games, or he just doesn't care about video games. But we enjoy playing Snipper Clips together because it's for us it's the perfect amount of like. You get a little bit frustrated with each other,
Great.
but also when you do achieve the goal, it's like, yay, we like each other.
That's
We
great.
did it.
There was some game like that where two people played cooperative space aliens in like a ship.
Lovers in a Dangerous Space Time.
Yeah.
That game's incredible.
Yeah, that game's awesome.
I love that game so much. I think it's free on PS Plus right now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I think it is.
Great.
I might be lying.
So turn on my PlayStation, is what you're telling me?
It
I'm
feels
not
like such a
telling you that.
burden.
Yeah.
I mean, even the 3DS, I don't even want to open up anymore.
As it slowly melts
Fan-
through your entertainment
Oh,
system.
God. Dog starts barking.
So what games are you looking forward to on the Switch now?
Well, I had Mario Kart 8 on Wii U, and I'm looking forward to picking that up again because I gave up on it just because there was sort of like the online community for me was just strangers, and I
Yeah.
feel like already there are more friends that I know who have Switches. So that I don't like Elder Scrolls, so I don't care about Elder Scrolls. And if we swore on this show, I would say just a swear word
Oh no.
at Elder Scrolls. 'Cause I don't care about it. Repetitive garbage.
Well, and who needs it when you've got Zelda?
Yeah.
Going for the same thing and just with a slam dunk instead of yeah.
Mario Odyssey, looking forward to.
Mm-hmm.
I hope they release like a remastered Galaxy or something. Would be
Oh,
so
man.
Oh
lit.
man, a Galaxy 1 and 2
Yeah.
together, being able to take that portably.
Yeah.
Oh, please.
I don't know that I ever beat 2. Like I feel like I know I beat 1, but I feel like I might have like it just was in a weird time.
Yeah, because that was late in the Wii's life cycle.
Yeah.
I got 241 of 242 stars in Mario Galaxy 2.
Oof.
That last star, man, it's so hard. Was something that I have never been able to accomplish, and I'm confidently stating now I will never accomplish.
How many Kurok seeds is that what they are? Kurok?
Yeah,
That's how I've never said that word out loud, so I don't know how
that
you
was the
say
first
it.
time. I've always said Korok.
Oh, I don't know.
I've never heard it. I've always said Korok, but I don't know. It's like I called Ocarina like Ocornia for years until I was corrected.
Well, and also when I I feel like there are a lot of these Nintendo words, right, that we just say however we think it's supposed to sound, and then you hear it pronounced in a game, and you're like, I am not calling it Planet Zebes. It's Zebes as far as I'm concerned.
Or like the first time that Hermione said her name in a book,
Yeah.
like she was like, no,
yeah.
it's Hermione. And
Hermione,
I'd been saying
Hermione.
Hermione or something.
Yeah, Hermione.
Yeah.
Korok seeds, not that many, maybe like 40 or 50, but there are 900 in the
I
game.
know.
How are you doing in Zelda so far?
I love it. I don't know.
I mean, like where are you progress wise?
Hold on, I can take
Yeah,
that.
let's pull it up.
With Korok seeds, with like 900 of them, it feels like anywhere you go, you should be bumping into them. So I know I've just missed a million.
I just figured out that you throw basketballs or like rocks into the circle ones because I'd only been. I just figured out that you throw rocks into the circle one. No, I got it.
All right.
Let's see where I am. I do an online series where I play my Switch. Well, I was playing my Switch in a bunch of random places for this thing I do called AOK. And they want me to sort of build up a gaming component. Let's see. Where am I? How do you find out? Go to this? No. How do you find out?
I mean, it does it on the loading screen, but
Wait a minute. How do you? Let's see. There has to be a way to know
like L and R around there to
shrine quests. Wait a minute. Well, how about this? I'll transport myself, right?
yeah, and then we'll get a nice loading screen.
Great. I'll go here. All right.
Now, hopefully, you weren't near something that you'll have to walk back to.
I
Okay,
just
great.
finished that. I just finished this beach side.
How many hours do you think you've put into it?
All right, I've got 84 shrines,
Oh, whoa.
108 Korok seeds, I've got the 4 things to.
Yeah, like 64 shrines and all 4 divine beasts.
Yep.
I'm only 2 divine beasts into this game.
I haven't touched any of them yet. I'm having too much fun just like running around, doing shrines, seeing if I can try to like break the game or like find something that they weren't expecting me to try to do. And it all works.
I found a thing today. Do you want to spoilers?
Sure, spoilers don't bother me at all.
Yeah.
So
That's
there's this
fine.
like guy who only shows up at night and sells nighttime costumes. And
Like pajamas?
so one of them turns you into Dark Link,
Wait, what?
and then you can run twice as fast at night. And he also sells, and this was today's discovery. He also sells monster masks, so you can go hang out with the monsters and they won't attack you.
No, wait.
Yes. So they'll come up and investigate you, and they'll like gesture and sniff, and then they'll like go off and do their stuff, so you can like sit at the campfire with the monsters.
That's so cool.
And I started feeding them because I was like, "There's got to be something you're supposed to do with these masks." Like it was so bonkers.
And all it does is just let you hang out with them?
so far
That sounds like an amazing experience.
So I don't know what else it does. Like I
So
got it.
You start feeding the monsters, and then what happens?
No, they just hang out. They eat here. Look, I'm in the mask right now. See, this is my. So
Oh, yeah.
So when he pretends to be a bokoblin.
Oh, that's so good. He takes like the posture.
Yeah,
That's incredible.
yeah. So he's great. Isn't that great?
Yeah, that's so much fun.
Wait, hold
I
on.
love this game.
I can't believe. I mean, like I'm pretty far in, and to discover an entirely new mechanic is bonkers.
I feel like that's like one of the most fun things about it is talking to other people who are playing it and being like, yeah, but have you done this? It's like, no, I didn't even know that was possible.
The answer's always no.
Yeah.
People are always like, I have no idea.
It's so I know there's other hidden effects that you can do. Here's
Oh, that's Dark Link.
That's Dark Link, and at night he runs twice as fast.
Are you scanning Amiibo into that thing at all?
Yes.
Do you have the Wolf Link, and do you have a wolf run around with you?
I do not have Wolf Link. I have the 2. I really hated Twilight Princess.
Oh, okay.
And I won't get Wolf Link by sort of like my ethics won't allow it. I hated
It's
that
a
game.
principled stance
I
against
hated
Twilight
that
Princess.
game. But I have the 2 Wind Waker guys, and I have all of the actual Breath of the Wild ones, and I have Zelda from Smash Brothers.
yeah.
And then I'm waiting for Ocarina of Time to come in. And
then there are going to be 3 more in June, July,
Mm,
sometime this
sometime
summer.
this summer.
so what are the other ones that are coming?
So there's a Majora's Mask one, which is just young Link holding like a Goron mask. And then there's Twilight Princess.
Ugh.
So that's a good one. And a Skyward Sword.
Which all look kind of
I didn't
interchangeable
play
to me.
Skyward Sword.
I didn't play either because it was so late in the Wii's life cycle that I never owned a Wii Motion Plus.
I also feel like this game I didn't ever really enjoy Zelda games.
Mm-hmm.
And this is such a transformative experience that I'm like, all other Zelda games are ruined now.
All other, most other games, period,
yeah.
right?
Yeah. Even
it's so
other
good.
open world games, it's
Mhm.
hard to like go into, and
Yeah.
it's so like you realize the restrictions and how like in like a Fallout or
Yeah.
a Elder Scrolls, like how restricting they actually are.
I hear that Horizon is really good. And I have it and played it for about 20 minutes before I actually got Zelda physically.
Right.
So
And then it's game over.
yeah. And then I was like, oh, well, I'll never play this again. But it was for 20 minutes that I played, seemed like a really great open world experience.
Yeah, it does seem really cool, but it's again just one of those things where like I've got to motivate myself to turn the PlayStation 4
Yeah.
back on.
Yeah.
It just doesn't. It doesn't make sense. I know, but put Horizon on the Switch.
Yeah, I would buy it in a
and then I'm
second.
there.
Yeah.
Heather, you're a fighting game fan, right?
Mm-hmm.
What are your thoughts on the Ultra Street Fighter 2?
So there's a first person mode?
There is. I can't imagine that's why anyone's going to pick it up, though, right?
That is literally why I'm going to pick it up.
No!
Yeah, because I've played Street Fighter to forever.
Yeah.
So it's done. Like, there's not anything new in that game for me.
But I don't think it's a full mode.
Yeah, but-
It's just like a mini game, right?
Yeah,
Where
but
you're
you
like shooting like
Take out the nubs and you fireball at the screen.
Mhm,
Yeah.
That's right.
I would buy that for $50. I would spend $50 on that. Fireball the screen.
It's so weird to me that that it looks like Street Fighter 4 in the first person mode.
Oh, yeah, that's super weird.
Like-
but it seems like they're just lazy.
Right.
Yeah.
They have these assets.
It would be
Yeah.
really cool if they did like the sprites from like Street Fighter 2 and made that into a third person like
I mean,
first
they-
Like
person mode.
Doom?
Yeah,
Like,
basically.
no matter where you went, they were always
yeah, they're
facing
always
you.
facing you. Like it's the haunted mansion.
I would pay $50 for that.
Yeah.
I think that's fair.
But yeah, I'll get that. I feel nothing. There's no excitement
Okay.
for that. But I mean, except for first person Hadoken mode. Other than that, nothing.
Are you into any of like either like newer iterations of Street Fighter, or are there like any fighting games that you're keeping an eye on right now?
I played 4 really extensively enough
Mhm.
that 5. I bought 5 on launch day and was bummed
Yes,
out by that
likewise.
game. And I know that the community has really like rallied around it, and now it's apparently really great. And I subscribe to all the Street Fighter subreddits
Mhm.
and have been watching combo videos and like all this frame data bullshit. Sorry. Frame.
No,
so you can cut it. You
no,
can
but
cut
that's Heather. That's what it is, though.
Yeah.
Frame data bullshit.
Yeah.
It has to stay
Yeah. So yeah, I wanted to get back into 5, but then again, it's Zelda. I can't do anything but Zelda.
in. Yes. Yeah. I mean, that's a great point. That we're living in a post-Zelda world now.
Zelda broke my addiction to my mobile game, which was Final Fantasy Record Keeper. I had probably dropped $150 in that
Oh,
that
man.
mobile game because I loved it. It was so much fun. And once Zelda came out, I stopped playing FFRK and then deleted it from my phone, which also deleted my
Wow.
account info because I'm like,
Oh,
it's
no.
broken. Oh, finally, I don't think about this and log in every day and get my crystals or my mithril or whatever.
I'm not familiar with Record Keepers. What's the hook on that?
So it's every Final Fantasy game all combined into one. So you can like your party can be Cloud and Squall and the little monkey kid Zidane.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Zidane is what I always
Zidane.
thought.
I would say Zidane. I don't know.
You can like make parties of all of them, and then you fight the bosses and enemies from all the games. And the basic stuff is really strategy free. but the more complicated end game stuff is like really heavy strategy.
Yeah.
And then just enough randomness that you're like, maybe this time I can beat it.
And is it stamina? Is that what you're like paying money for or like waiting for?
Yeah, well, you pay. I've never paid for stamina. You can pay money to get your stamina. Otherwise, you just wait like 2 hours or whatever it is. But you collect mithril every day, and then you can use the mithril to do a slot machine pull. And the slot machine pull is to get weapons or armor or whatever. And it's a pretty generous randomized system. Like I got tons of stuff just using mithril. But then once in a while it would be like, I gotta have Squall's coat.
Oh,
I
yeah.
have to have his coat.
It's such a good coat. It's
I
got a
gotta
nice
have
little
his
fur
coat.
lining here around the
Yeah.
collar.
So I would drop like $10 in and like pull 3 times or whatever to get his coat. And then I'd be like, man, I gotta get that coat.
Well, and at that point, the seal is broken,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It's time to spend
But
money.
yeah, no, I deleted it because of Zelda. Thank you, Zelda.
Zelda is fighting addiction
Yeah.
with a different kind of addiction.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm.
Going back to what we were talking about earlier. No, but one of the bummers to me on the Switch is the lack of system music. It does have nice
yeah.
sound effects, like when you're opening the eShop
Yeah,
and it's
the
like the
snap,
bloops
all
and
that,
everything.
yeah.
Like it's great. It's very satisfying.
Mhm.
Like when you put the Joy-Con in
Yep.
and the noise it makes. But I do miss the like Wii era. Yeah.
I feel like we're still in the early days of what the Switch OS is and what like the eShop is going to be. I'm hopeful that we're still going to get some kind of cool background music.
Maybe with
Does it turn on with music?
no.
I don't think
I
so.
Oh,
don't-
actually, I
know,
guess I
right? Yeah.
haven't powered it down and up, so I don't know.
Because you always put it to sleep.
But I think it just makes the like Switch.
Ka-check.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a quiet. I mean, I feel like it knows that it's mostly a mobile machine, right? And so it just like
Oh.
tries to be less
Wow.
noisy. Yeah.
Oh man.
Is
I
my
bet that
working
was
theory.
A great meeting. I bet that they like sat around a table and they had that meeting. That's a great meeting.
That they had just like a bunch of music, and they're like, which of these musics is the least intrusive?
And Miyamoto was like,
None of them.
none of them. Did you read this thing that came out yesterday or today or whatever, where they, up until very late in Zelda, had the mechanic where they would stab a knife into the rock and you could hang from the knife to regain your stamina so you could climb mountains that you couldn't necessarily climb,
Does that
And-
mean you would lose whatever you were stabbing into the?
I guess.
Yeah.
But Miyamoto was like, this doesn't make any sense. Like, how can he stab this into a rock from what? That doesn't make any sense. And so then they changed it so it was only in the corners. Like you could shove it into corners.
Uh huh.
And he's like, no, this is gross. I don't like this. And but it was apparently real late in the dev process that they got rid of it.
That guy's the best.
He's the best.
There was some interview with him where, they were talking about the first time that they had shown Miyamoto like an early build of Breath of the Wild, and he just kept climbing trees.
Oh
That,
yeah.
like,
Yeah.
He would go to a tree, would climb up it, jump off, find another tree, and climb up
They're
it.
like, do you want to see the other stuff we've been working on?
And he's like, I'm having fun.
Which also makes sense because the opening of Mario 64 is just climb those trees.
Yeah.
yeah,
know?
you're just running around
You
in
just
that
run,
free.
climb the trees and do a handstand, and that's it.
November 12th, 1996.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe it was 95. I don't know. Now I want to look it up.
We're pretty sure it's 96.
Yeah, because we looked that up yesterday.
Right. We're doing a playthrough of Donkey Kong Country 2 at the moment.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
We had never played it.
Okay.
We had only played the first Donkey Kong Country. It's so hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. those
DKC2
It's
is
brutal.
Yeah, those are not fun.
Yeah. I mean, we've gotten to a point now where it's not fun. And
Which is only the third world.
that's right.
But it has such a glowing reputation.
I don't
That-
like those games.
You don't like any of those games?
I don't like. Well, I hate the art style.
Oh, yeah.
More than anything, I hated the art
It's
style
repulsive.
then. I hate the art style now.
Like the big googly eyes and
I
everything's
hate
like
the art style. Like Yoshi's Island is like even a little too much for me. Like I'm
Mhm.
like, okay, guys, just settle down. It's way too much.
I hate those babies. I
Yeah.
You hate the babies?
I hate
yeah,
the
and I hate that like half moon arc of like how your aiming works. Yeah, I hated that. Yeah. Oh well. This devolved.
That's okay. We're allowed to hate the thing we love, right?
Yeah.
What do you have like a what's like an early Nintendo game that you have like a strong affection for?
Well, Little Nemo.
Yeah.
When I was a child playing that game, I started running to bed and leaping into it the way that Nemo did, because he runs and leaps over the end of his bed and is immediately asleep. And that was really impressive for me. So I would run and try and twist in the air and fall asleep before I hit the.
I was imagining what you were saying was it was impressive that he went right to sleep.
Yeah. And I
Yeah.
wanted to do, like, it was awesome. So that game.
Were you a Nintendo kid, or were you also like Genesis? Like,
I
were you
was
just
a-
video games?
I was a Sega kid. So my dad got me a Master System when I was too young to know what to do with it. That was my first video game system, because my dad was like, well, there are more colors and there's 2 ways to put games into it, and they have 3D glasses. My kid needs the good one. We also had a Betamax. We did not have VHS because Betamax has more lines of resolution on the screen. So
Did
my
your dad also pick up the HD DVD player over Blu-ray?
we had Laserdisc.
Oh yeah.
HD DVD he didn't do because
Laserdisc.
it's the same. There was no like bonus
Sure.
for one over the other. But anytime it was like, oh, this is. So we got CDs real early because he's like, oh, this is the future of music. And my friends were like, what is this thing?
So sometimes he's right.
Yeah, once.
Sometime he's right.
Yeah. But I was Sega. I didn't get an NES until after the Genesis.
Yeah.
Like, because there was one on discount or something, and they threw like,
Was it one of the like top loading ones?
No,
or
it was
was
still
it
like
the,
it was
yeah.
it was like Blockbuster used
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Nintendo. Yeah.
And that's the Nintendo that you still have now?
Well, no, I have the case for that. That stopped.
Yeah.
That died. I bought a new NES from eBay.
Yeah.
And that one works great. It's awesome.
So if you were a Sega kid early on, do you have those weird neural pathways laid where you kind of like Sonic the Hedgehog?
Yeah. Where do you land on Sonic the Hedgehog?
We don't want to fight about this.
No,
but
but
if
can you
wanna
explain
fight
it to
about
us?
Well, so Mario 3 came out before Sonic, right? But Genesis came out before Mario 3, I think.
Yeah, so the Genesis didn't actually launch with
It
Sonic.
came
It
with
was like
Altered Beast.
Yeah, that's right.
Right. So I had Altered Beast. Then I got the Nintendo and played Mario 3, and I was like, oh, this is the best game of all time. This is perfect.
Right.
And I'd played regular Mario at friends' houses or Tetris at my cousin's house. But no, I'm not a lunatic.
Yeah.
But the music in Sonic is
Oh,
better
baller.
than
Yeah.
Mario music. I think it is perfect music. It's so good.
I agree with that when the music is good, because I think there are times when Sonic music is not good. But most of the stuff that like sounds like
Man,
80s Michael Jackson is awesome.
Well, there's like a 70s Japanese band that I want to call ELO, but that's not the name of the band.
Okay.
Because that's Electric Light Orchestra.
That's right.
That had a specific synthesizer sound, and Sonic is trying to emulate that sound. And once you've heard that band, you're like, oh my gosh, this is a perfect replica of that sound and attitude and atmosphere. And then you're like, this is it. I'm done. This is the best. Sonic music is the best. Sonic music is better than Mario.
Up to like Sonic 3 or what it was, Sonic and Knuckles? Is that what Sonic 3 was? Or like, are we talking 3D Sonic?
Oh no, fuck. God, no.
Yeah.
Although there's some, I mean, like, I guess Adventure has some. Sonic 06 is terrible on all fronts. The
Right.
music's bad. The game everything is bad. But
Sonic Adventures, where you start to hear those like kind of Blink 182-esque like
yeah,
pop punk songs
that
are
doesn't work for me.
Yeah.
Keep that in Crazy Taxi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Keep that in Crazy Taxi, or like license the real stuff for like Tony Hawk or
Yeah,
something
Pro
like that.
Skater.
Yeah. So no, I mean, I liked Sonic 1 and 2 and
Mhm.
Sonic CD. Did not like 3. Really didn't like Knuckles or Sonic Knuckles.
It slows that game way
I
down.
really don't like that game. I had a Dreamcast and is it Adventure?
Yeah. just
Sonic Adventure?
Yeah, I think there are maybe 2 of them on the Dreamcast.
And I played pretty much just the part where you run from the killer whale, as if I was a child with a Disney VHS. Like
over and over and over again.
And over and over. It was the most amazing thing I had ever seen in my life.
Actually, come to think of it, that's one of the first like real video game set pieces,
Yeah.
right? That like the Uncharted games chase forever.
Yeah.
Like everyone's just trying to get that whale
The
chasing
killer
Sonic.
whale, yeah. It's perfect.
It is perfect.
It was so far beyond everything else that came out visually that year.
Yeah.
Like I couldn't believe the Dreamcast existed when it came out. It was so good. Now I have a VGA connector, so I can hook up my Dreamcast to
Yeah.
a monitor, and I have I bought some insane SCART to RGA or RGB for my Super NES, so I have that running to a Sony PVM, which is the production
man.
monitor.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
So it's like every pic, but still with scan lines and still with the actual CRT.
Oh, that's so, because I mean, I've got mine hooked up like the old ass fashioned way, both the Super Nintendo and the Dreamcast.
With the RF.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they look real bad.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
there's no way for them to look good on my enormous Sony TV.
I'll show you afterwards. I have photos
Yeah.
of the PVM. It's unbelievable. And I got it from a guy who he was a production guy in Venice,
Mhm.
and he was selling it for $50, and he had bought the monitor for $20,000.
Oh my gosh.
Like, how crazy is that?
Oh, man. I guess
You-
when you got to get rid of something, you got to
Yeah.
get rid of something.
But there's no market for it other than video game people.
Yeah, sure.
And he was like, "Are you into video games?" And I was like, "Yes." But I didn't
Yes,
bring
I
it up.
am.
I want to be like, I can't talk him down. Yeah. But yeah, Sonic, man. Sonic is the first two are good. I like the first two.
So, okay.
And Sonic CD. But the music is weird in Sonic
The
CD.
music is, yeah, because it's not the same like chipset as the Genesis.
And they also played off the CD, and
Mhm.
they'd made American music for it. So the American music
Oh,
is
that's
totally
right.
different from the Japanese music, and it's just weird. It's like new age music or something. It's really weird.
Are you at all interested in Sonic Mania when
Oh,
it
yeah,
comes
I'll get
out?
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm planning on getting that because I'm hoping that is I want to understand Sonic because I grew up playing Mario and then
Mhm.
Sonic would be the thing that I'd go to friends' houses
Mhm.
to like experience for a little bit. And I want to get it. So
It's hard right now to think of Sonic as anything but weird pornography on Tumblr.
yeah,
Like
Wait, what?
Heather.
Heather.
No. Sonic Mania has good music.
Yes.
So far in the trailers.
Yeah.
This is really important to the Sonic
This is a one
experience.
item issue. And then, of course, we're saying no thank you to, what's the new one? The other
Forces?
one? Sonic Forces.
Yeah, no thank you to Forces.
Have you seen this thing yet?
No.
It's the new 3D Sonic.
It's playing off of the idea from Generations where they had like modern Sonic and old classic Sonic
Yeah,
together.
okay,
And I think it's
okay.
the same sort of thing where it's like, we have to team up to defeat a greater force.
Like the existence of classic Sonic in that game implies that they know that new Sonic is not good.
Yes.
That's weird, isn't it?
New Sonic appeals to a very interesting group of people.
I guess the prequel memes is like a huge subreddit, and I assumed when the prequels were done that nobody would ever quote them again. But people quote the prequels like crazy, and in the same way, I feel like
Mhm.
the people who grew up with like Wolf Sonic and Pistol Sonic
Yeah.
are
Shadow.
yeah
Shadow the
are just
Hedgehog.
like this is Sonic.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because definitely like my cousin's kids who are like 12 and some other age that's less than 12, maybe 9, maybe 10. They like the prequels as though they are Star Wars. Like to them, they are just Star Wars.
So then is Sonic Generations a way for like dad and son to play Sonic?
Also, Generations in a lot of different ways.
Oh,
I mean, Sonic will bury us all.
God.
that's true. Sonic will outlive us all.
Yeah.
Woof.
Oh, that's a depressing thought.
Man, that's rough.
So it sounds like you're into like
Music.
yeah,
and
music,
Sonic games.
music and Sonic. But I was wanted to ask more about like preservation because you've got all these old consoles and you're hooking them up to monitors and stuff. Is that important to you?
I had a catastrophe this winter, total catastrophe. So
Is it okay to talk about?
yes, I have kept all of my games my whole life, all of my systems, everything, and I had a closet in the center of the house, away from windows, where my entire collection was. And it's everything, Super NES in box, all the instruction manuals, everything was carefully. I have the watch from the N64 release. I have my pocket stations. I have everything in this closet. And when it was raining in LA, that closet's a hole opened up in the ceiling inside that closet and rained down and destroyed $15,000 worth of video game stuff. And I was sort of, and still sort of am, shell shocked by it. Like, I feel both bad for me, but also because some of the stuff is not, I mean, like I had Waterworld for the Virtual Boy.
Right.
Which is there aren't a lot of them.
Right. Why would there be?
Right. So
that thing sold less than 1 million copies.
Yeah. So how many people have Waterworld with the case with the instructions?
Oh, yeah. One fewer now.
Like it was just, and then I've had
What other Virtual Boy games did you have? Tellero Boxer, Mario Clash,
Wario Adventure, whatever
it's called.
And were those ones did you own a Virtual Boy? Like, did you buy a Virtual Boy?
Yes.
And those were the games that you had bought?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Also, I really liked Waterworld for real. I loved it. I was like, this is a dream. I could live on a boat and there'd be no people.
Have you seen the stunt show at Universal Studios?
I have seen it. It is not good. It's weird that it still exists.
I feel like it's one of the better things at Universal.
I haven't been to Harry Potter Land.
It's fine. It's small.
It's small. I thought it was awesome.
Right.
But I love Harry Potter. So to me it was
and
like
Hermione.
I called her Hermione. So, you know.
Hermione.
I think that there should be special days for Harry Potter Land where you can only go if you're dressed in a cloak. Because I think it would really bum me out to go and just see people in like Jurassic Park t-shirts. Because I'd be like, nobody in Diagon Alley wears a Jurassic Park t-shirt.
Yeah, I don't know if people like cosplay other parts of that park. Right?
Yeah, but they should. Well, I would cosplay the Jurassic Park ride. That would be awesome. Oh my God.
As a dinosaur?
What if we bring a backpack full of clothes and we cosplay different parts of the universe?
Oh, that'd be awesome. Like Transformers?
Yeah.
We're all dressed up like Shia LaBeouf.
Yeah, or like the robots.
Oh yeah, you could do that too.
You could go to Transformers and have like explosion dust on you.
And then we go over to the Mummy ride.
Yeah.
This could be a lot of fun.
That could be a lot of fun.
We're gonna plan this. It'll be a big backpack.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, we'll all bring one.
Well,
well, what if you split it up? So you have because it's somebody in a photo and then everybody else is taking the photo. So it's like you have some people who have like 1970 stuff for Jaws.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You know, like you split it up.
Oh man, so we have to make a couple different costume changes while on that tram ride that like takes us around.
Yeah, to like the Psycho house.
There's like the Fast and Furious too.
There's the King Kong area.
Yeah.
There you go.
We need a lot of costumes. And it'll real quick.
What were we talking about right before then?
I don't even remember.
Universal, Waterworld.
Yeah, we're backwards. Virtual Boy.
Catastrophe.
Other Virtual Boy. Yes.
Yeah. So I have Mario Tennis, which is really good.
Yeah.
Is
that no? I was gonna ask if that was the first appearance of Wario, and Waluigi. He appears originally in a Mario Tennis game, and I'm just trying to remember which one it is.
Virtual Boy. No way. It's not.
You don't think they invented any characters for Virtual Boy?
Yeah, because Waluigi's a late addition. Like,
Yeah.
isn't he like GameCube era, maybe 64?
He's not 64. He's GameCube.
Yeah.
Yeah. So no, he's not in Mario Tennis for Virtual Boy. I still have my Virtual Boy. It still works.
So after this catastrophe, were you able to salvage some of it?
So I have everything. So I dried everything out, and I have everything in waterproof containers with silicone gel. The little packets
absorption things
to like suck out anything left. I have not tried anything. I'm terrified. The instruction booklets are ruined, and that's. I mean, it's my secret of mana, and it's like that's the game that got me into video game journalism. Was an article I wrote about Secret of Mana, and like that's my secret of mana.
Yeah,
and it's if I put it in and it doesn't work, I mean, like, what is my life?
Yeah.
My life didn't have meaning.
Well, so as long as you don't test it, your life simultaneously has meaning and does not have
It's
meaning.
Schrodinger's secret
Secret
of mana.
Yeah, that's what you've got.
Yep, that's exactly. Yeah. So no, I haven't. So not everything got destroyed, and all of my consoles were in a separate place. So they're all fine. And I have like a Saturn that has a Japanese America Switch.
Oh, yes.
Oh, wow.
Like I still all my. I mean, the CDs are fine for things. So my Dreamcast and Sega CD stuff is all fine, but like those cartridges, man. Oh boy.
Yeah, they're
Oh.
fragile beasts.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I did want to ask you about your time in video game journalism because I think
Cool.
for a lot of people, the idea of, oh man, you like are getting paid to play video games sounds super appealing. But then you talk to video game journalists, and well, as we're playing Donkey Kong Country 2, we kind of put ourselves on a time limit because we're like, okay, we have to get through this amount of it, and then we can record about it.
Yeah,
and you just feel so much stress because you're like, oh my God, like this is harder than I thought it was going to be. The little things that maybe wouldn't annoy me normally are really annoying because I'm trying to get through this as fast as possible.
I guess two things. One was that I self-subscribed to a theory of games journalism called new games journalism, which was that you didn't review the game as like a point scale, but you spoke about it like travel journalism. That it was those frustrations were if you couldn't beat the game, then you wrote about that experience, and that in some way would impart a different kind of review to people other than just like the core mechanic is you blast lasers and you can make an earthquake. There is a game where
This
you can
sounds
make
like
an
a good
earthquake.
game.
No, there is a game that I saw at like my last E3. I don't remember, but you could like make the earth change.
Was it Crackdown?
No, it looked. No, I know what Crackdown is. Anyway, point is that so those frustrating things were just a part of a game. The things that bothered me were, and I'm now so far away from the industry that I think I can speak about it in real terms.
Sure.
I had to change review scores for advertisers.
No.
Yeah, and that was just like my editor would say, "Hey, can you think about your review this way?" And then soon after that, we just eliminated review scores entirely because I mean, a few of us were like, "This is ridiculous."
Right. The numbers don't mean anything.
Right. So like it would be like they're running a full page ad, and they can't if they're going to run a full page ad and you're going to talk about how much this game sucks, then they're never going to run an ad again. So can you imagine that you are the kind of person that would enjoy this game and talk about its benefits? And I'd be like, I mean, there's a sexualized 8-year-old in this game.
I imagine someone would be into that.
So that was a bummer.
Well, that's the kind of like bullshit idea that there is such a thing as like an objective review of a game, right?
There's not. It
Right.
should be,
There's only people's experience with it.
you instead it should be the criticism should be finding somebody who has a similar voice to
Mhm.
you and a similar playing experience to you, and then being like, did they like this game or did they not like this game? Not is there some objective quality that some like universal observer is going to be able to find a metric for.
Or the consensus is necessarily a good thing.
Yeah.
Where it's like everybody's not everybody agrees that this is a great game,
yeah.
then
That's
somebody
fine.
is wrong.
Right. Yes.
You know, like that idea is gonna,
Yeah, it's so so that was hard. It was
Do you remember the last game you reviewed?
no. I was so the magazine collapsed really fast.
Mm-hmm.
Really fast. And my last few reviews, I don't even know if they were published. Like online cuz
Yeah.
like the magazine stopped printing and then the website collapsed all within like the span of a month. And I was owed $9,000, I think, because I hadn't been paid for a couple of months because it was just
Jeez.
like, hey, we just need to get ahead of this. And if you don't mind taking like half your paycheck this month, then it would really, and to that end, my boss's name is Dave Halverson, and he is a legend. He was trying to help me,
Sure.
but on the other side, it was a catastrophe, like
Yeah.
a real awful experience at the end. So I don't know what my last game was.
Sure, it might not have even been published.
Yeah, yeah. I do know. I reviewed Final Fantasy 12. I got flown out to one of my favorite experiences. I was flown out to Canada to Ubisoft Montreal
Mm-hmm.
to play their Naruto game, the first one.
Oh, yeah.
And it was great. It was great. The game was great, and that experience was great. That was not a fixed score. That was
Right.
a real.
that was your real experience.
And they had like a Japanese language track on the game with all the original voice actors, and that was amazing.
Yeah.
And then like the woman who was writing it was like super obsessed with Naruto, and we had lunch and talked about Naruto for a long time. I was really into Naruto back then.
It's coming across.
Yeah.
So that was cool.
It seems like stuff like that is that is amazing experiences
Yeah.
that you get to have.
Yeah.
Is there any of that you miss now, not doing that kind of stuff anymore?
No.
Yeah.
I mean, I could just go to Montreal for fun. I don't have to get like live in a $50 a night hotel room and be like, I'm so cold.
Yeah, they don't heat those hotels.
I went to Japan a couple of times for the Tokyo Game Show.
Mhm.
And there was Capcom would have these huge events called Captivate, where they would you'd get flown out to Vegas or wherever their Captivate was and play I played Street Fighter 4 before it existed in a room that had a waterfall in it, a hotel room with a
What?
waterfall in it. And they were also, everybody was pretty upfront about this sort of payola system.
Mhm.
Like when I went to Montreal, they were like, so how do you like the game? And I was like, I love it. And they were like, is it cover worthy? And I'm like, yeah, yes, I don't make that choice. But yes. And they were like, what do you think? Do you think a steak dinner would make it cover worthy? And I was like,
Whoa.
guys,
Give me that dinner.
I will.
Yeah.
I will call my boss and you can hear me say, I think this should have the cover. But I will say that whether you give me a steak dinner or not. And then they brought me to steak dinner. And then they gave me a bunch of wine. And they were like, how about that boss call? And I'm like, no, I already emailed them. And like Capcom would give you tons of gifts and set you up with like open bar and all this like high-end alcohol and room service. Like they were
Damn.
really upfront about the way they were like, hey, talk about that. How's that 10 looking? And I'm like, we don't have scores. And then you walk away.
Also, 10 is a very high score.
Yeah. There was a time where I talked to my boss because he was like, I was like, why don't we just give every game a 10? Like every game is a 10. Like destroy Metacritic with our system. And he was like, no. And I was like, but every game is a 10 of something.
Sure.
Give it a 10 in Sonic's music.
Well, especially if you are, looking at the game from the perspective of somebody who would like the game.
Yeah.
For someone who would like the thing,
It's
it's
a
perfect.
10.
Yeah. Waterworld in 3D on the Virtual Boy was a 10. There was
No,
no
but you
other-
actually like this game.
No, it's awful, but there was a 3D. I got to live in Waterworld.
Yeah, fair enough.
I'm really surprised that virtual reality hasn't hit me harder because it feels like I should be somebody who never left once I put on the helmet. Like just
I find VR so alienating.
Mm.
Like at the E3s that I've been able to use it, every time I walk away being like, this 2.5 minute demo was more than enough time than I needed in here.
I just feel there's somebody's gonna make a horror movie where a woman is in VR and there's a guy standing in the room. Like
Oh, yeah.
I just I'm like, I can't hear anything and I can't see anything. And not that I live in a dangerous place, but I'm expecting to take off my helmet and there's a human being right there.
I mean, you do live with a couple serial killers, right?
Wait,
so,
you know this?
I mean,
Is that why the call's coming from inside the house every
yeah,
time?
that's why it keeps coming from inside the house. You should have that looked at, Heather.
Yeah. So I expected to. Also the experiences that I want aren't on the PS4 VR,
Mm-hmm.
which are Google Maps. I really want to jump from building to building there's a
Yes.
Google Earth thing where you can go
Oh, that'd
anywhere.
be cool. Yeah.
Like that's a thing, and it's out for HTC, but not for PlayStation.
It is, and you have PlayStation VR.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, it seems like the only one that makes any kind of financial sense.
it's PSVR.
Yeah, it's
Once
PSVR.
once you're committed to the PlayStation,
Right.
you know.
Yeah.
You've already dropped that one.
Resident Evil 7
That's right.
Is
Resident Evil 7. No.
has gotten high praise for its VR experience. Although I don't know that I could want to play it that way.
I'm not. So I played the first like 15 minutes of it and was like, no, I don't want to experience. I don't want to feel this.
Yeah.
Too scary?
At all. It's just gross. Like, and I love horror movie. I'm just like, why are like when you can run around in perfect green grass and perfect blue skies or perfect rain or perfect horse.
We're just talking about Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
Breath of the Wild. Why would you ever want to be like, oh, I'm going to hang out in this filthy water pit with that dude who's chainsawing something?
Yeah, it doesn't. It's weird that kind of like grime and grit is like, yeah, that's an artistic choice that like a game can make, but like, why is that something you want to engage with?
I don't want to do it anymore. I got Battlefield and played like 30 minutes. It was like, I'm gonna have PTSD from this game. Like,
Yeah.
I don't want to experience all this horrible.
I do think it's a weird, like, games that are pushing towards like veracity, like being like real.
Yeah.
You know, like
Verisimilitude.
yeah. Like
Nice.
Thank you.
That's the word
Mhm.
that my dumb person brain couldn't
Yeah, I
pull.
thought veracity was gonna work.
But and that's not really, like, I look for escapism in games. You know, that's not really what I'm looking for, is a simulation of real life.
Yeah, well, and that's one of the things where like I am gradually pulling away from any game that makes me shoot a gun. Like that's just such like a repellent thing to me in real life that I'm like, I can have a bunch of fun playing games where people don't have guns, and I know you'll bring up counter examples, but I don't know. It's more and more if there's shooting in a game, I kind of don't want to be involved with it.
I feel like it's one of those things for me where it's not something that I necessarily have thought about. Like when I'm looking to buy a game, like whether it has guns or not is not something I really consider. But again, as like shooting a gun in like Wolfenstein 3D feels very different from shooting a gun in
Sure, in like Battlefield or something.
Yeah.
I would say at this point, The Last of Us is either my second or first favorite game of all time.
Sure.
And that's extremely violent and very grim in its storytelling. But often the environments were beautiful. And it's like literally, I think the second thing you do in Resident Evil is you go into a water pit and it's just like dead trees and it's all brown and there's like a dude. And I'm like, when you contrast that with like, I'm in a abandoned gas station and like each little cup is sort of lovingly detailed and the light
Telling
is
a little bit of the
good.
story before the fall.
Yeah, and there's like there's dust in the air and it looks incredible coming through that light. Like you can still do beauty in trash environments.
Well, and like The Last of Us is also going to give you like that giraffe moment, or it's going to give you like such amazing beauty, like pillars coming out of that darkness, and it knows what it's doing with that darkness. The game is about mourning the loss of his daughter.
Yeah, and I feel like it's almost like there's albums you could judge by their cover.
Yes,
and a lot of them are like death metal-y. Like I don't need, like if I saw Resident Evil on the cover of an album, like gross filthy water pit,
you wouldn't pick it up.
I wouldn't pick up that album because chances are it's a kind of music that just doesn't appeal to me.
Yeah.
And if it wasn't, I'd be like, somebody needs to talk to your graphic designer.
Because they are doing a bad job.
Yeah, they're doing a bad job.
Put a Triforce on that thing.
There we go. Triforce and a rainbow, filthy water pit.
I'll go with Triforce and Rainbow.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's as good a place as any to close this up. Heather, it's been super fun talking to you.
Okay, cool.
Okay, cool.
This has been super fun too.
Is there anything you would like to plug, or where can people find you?
Well, you can find me online. Please subscribe to or watch youtube.com/AOK, or This Is AOK. It's our was a part of an animation family for forever called ADHD, and all that. All those people have now moved over to AOK. It's the same team, and we had to start all over again.
Yay!
With our subscribers, so we would really like your help. Other than that, At Midnight, Whose Line, and the upcoming season of the Comedy Central show Corporate.
Oh,
Yeah.
What would you do with Corporate?
I wrote for this show and then appear on an episode.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thanks so much.
Yeah,
for,
thank you
talking
so
to us,
much.
Abby.
All right, bye guys.
Bye. All right, that's going to do it for this episode of Nintendo Cartridge Society. Remember, if you want to participate in our conversation at all, sounds like we're having fun, right? You can send us an email at nintendocartridgesociety@gmail.com. And again, Chandler, thank you for sending that
Thank you
email.
so much. That really made my day.
Yeah, Mark's very happy. I'm a little less happy, but I'm still very happy. Remember, you can follow us on Twitter at NinCartSociety, and you can check us out on Facebook. The Facebook page is just Nintendo Cartridge Society. If you have a second, we would love for you to rate and review us on iTunes, subscribe, tell your friends, but really that rate and review. I have not rated or reviewed us yet, and I feel bad about this every day.
Well, you feel bad about giving us that first 1-star review.
It's going to happen.
Also, I've been talking about, or I was for a while talking about a contest. Contest has kind of fallen under the radar. We haven't talked about it that much, but I intend for there to be a contest. So it's worth your time to rate and review. My intentions are good.
Right. Oh, Lord. Please don't let me be misunderstood. If you like Mark and Mine's opinions, you can check out our writings about comic books over on retconpunch.com. Olivia Duncan made our logo. Our theme music is provided by 8-Bit Betty. You can check out more of 8-Bit Betty's music by going to 8bitbetty.com or by listening right now. For my co-host, Mark Mitchell, this is Patrick Eller saying thanks for listening.
What's a Creative Podcast Network?